Beautiful, beautiful people. Welcome back to the playbook. Today, we're doing a formation guide. All the details, the ins and the outs. And we're starting with one of my favorite and most overpowered and welcoming formations, the 4-4-2. If you find this video helpful, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Almost all of you are new. It's a brand spanking new channel. I've got a 4-4-2 on screen that we're going to put into motion, and I want to talk about the positions and the types of players you want to have in those positions before we get into the pros and the cons, just a complete overview. And I'd like to give a special shout out to a good friend of mine, Ovi, who's putting out a video at the same time covering every tactical approach that is going to get you right in this formation. There's nothing for us to discuss around the goalkeeper. I have noticed with the center backs, and this might be a familiar theme across FC24, collect as many play styles as possible. And it's not all about pace. It's never a negative, but body type and play styles will serve a massive indicator as to success rate that you're gonna have when it deals with center backs. And if you can get someone that's got some size, a little more brawly, the way they intercept, the way that they block passes, crosses, they climb with the aerial pursuit. They can do it all. And just to support my argument, De Ligt barely has enough with 5 play styles, including a play style plus for slide tackle, which some people are saying is the least of the importance. But slide tackling this year is completely relevant. Whereas we look at Schlotterbeck, who costs next to nothing, 7 play styles. He has damn near collected them all for defending. This guy is a Pokemon trainer. He's meant to be successful. I'd like to spend a special feature for the fullbacks because I would normally never use a player like Grimaldo. He does not fit the build that I look for. I'm not naturally drawn towards 5'7" skinny fullbacks. I look for defense first, but in this year in particular, and even more so in this formation, because you're gonna rely on your fullbacks to get you out of trouble, not even on the defensive end, but going forward when you're looking for outlets, attacking options, whipping in crosses, finding key passes. They have to have high passing and high dribbling. And at the current moment, this whipped pass, and you may have seen some highlights going out on the social medias, the accuracy of the chip through balls and the crosses and the switches of the pitch and just this organic tendency of additional precision, it is noticeable. I can say the same about a large portion of the passing play styles. I believe it's that important for your fullbacks in particular. Moving into the midfield, these central midfielders need to be workhorses. And these are all affordable players. This entire team is under 50K. I made a squad builder if you want to see more of the gameplay in full, the results. We went undefeated through division rivals, so it's not as if this team did not flow. I hope that's not a spoiler. If you haven't seen that video, we are not dropping games. Sane, we know what he's all about, and I would recommend for your wingers, you need guys that can shoot forward. That's not new. Up front, even more so when you have 2 strikers, someone has to be able to pass. I go up against different teams that have these pace merchants, and it's easy to do, but those guys lack some of the technical class and the precision. When you're going up against upper level opponents, you have to be able to unlock space. I don't think I mentioned, but my center mids between the 2 of them also have 13 play styles. I'm telling you, go after the play style. It might be broken record, I might be reiterating, but the way that the players move, the additional benefits that you receive, it's so noticeable, undeniable. As for the pros, let's begin. 4-4-2. And I like the version without the holding mids. I'm not mad if you play that, but I'm specifically looking at the 4-4-2 flat. It's my preferred version between those 2 formations. And we've got to start with balance. You can play how you wish to play. You have a lot of choice. Whether it's slow, it's fast, you want to go out through the wings, you need extra time and spacing, you're looking for dribbling and skill moves, you score down the middle, you score out wide. Even from a defensive stance, do you want to be more aggressive? Do you want to mix it up? Would you like to sit passively, which I don't necessarily co-sign, but it is of course possible in this formation, and you can have success with all these different routes. Most formations, they have 1, maybe 2 ways you can try to incorporate and play them into motion and perform at a high level. 4-4-2 from a versatility perspective, remarkable. When I think 4-4-2, not only do I think original, OG, triple OG, I'm throwing it back, but also natural, authentic, organic. I talk about how the players are where they're supposed to be. There are no surprises in the 4-4-2. The positioning, the support, regardless of where you fall on the spectrum of this formation, it's hard to deny how natural and the ease of use, if you will, with the 4-4-2. Again, regardless of your personnel and your preference, you've already gone up against a decent amount of different players in this formation, and you've seen the success rate. Tell me I'm lying. We didn't really talk that much about being narrow, but I'd like to talk more about width, because width gives you outlets, outlets give you options, options we like choice. And it's measuring risk to reward. You can work the sidelines, you can work the end lines, you can whip in this cross, you can find different spacing, you have the opportunity to go for those knockdowns, to unlock new ways to attack, and also even new ways to defend. And a lot of that starts with width. And this year in particular, I'm finding that narrow formations feel as if they're leaving something that could be asked for. It does depend. I've enjoyed using many narrow formations, but if you're playing with width, it seems as if the game has a little bit of an easier flow. Somewhat self-explanatory, but striker to striker passing, that interchangeability from through balls to tiki-taka, it's even faking as if you're going to go to that striker, and then you take on someone with a skill move. You've got the knockdown options. There's a lot of partnership and camaraderie that just works with having the two attackers and the two strikers, the way they sit in and they swing. And I've got a lot to love about the two striker setup specific to the 4-4-2. Last of the pros, dribbling space. You've got a lot to work with. You beat a first man or a second guy and you're able to attack. And again, you can either cut inside or you can take it out wide. And just that quick moment of being decisive and your opponent second guessing, potentially hesitating, and you're off to the races. As for the cons, if your midfield does not click, this formation will not work for you. It goes from us being complimentary and inserting superlatives, then I'm focused on where are my midfielders? Where are the center mids? Why is this guy going this way? That guy's going that way. Is the personnel incorrect? Did I build the wrong team? I don't have enough pace on the wings or on those outside midfielders. They're not coming to help support. High work rates going this direction when I need them going that direction. It's easy to do incorrectly. And before you know it, it's as if you don't have not only the angles, but the layers to the defensive approach. And I talk more about defense because I feel as if most of us are having a good time with offense. We enjoy that learning curve, that learning process, different ways to lob the ball in or to find space or to learn new skill moves. It's not always the same. On the defensive side of things, you start getting broken down and your opposition's breaking through and you're not a brick wall and you don't know how to fix it and you're looking for shortcuts. And lastly, it's the wingbacks. And I touched on this at the start of the video, but for these fullbacks, you have to have guys that are pinpoint in terms of your outlets, your releases, your deep passes. And I want to reiterate, deep passes. There will be times that you are getting trapped, your opponent's chasing the game, whatever it may be. You have to be able to deliver precise passes in difficult scenarios and situations on a regular basis. You need consistency. And there's been plenty of overpowered fullbacks I've used that didn't have the Grimaldo effect. And I wasn't able to get those types of bounces, the over-the-top runners, the outlets, even for some of the through balls, just key elements that I noticed the difference and it made life easier for me. Your fullbacks have to be able to fulfill a certain type of role. And then your midfield, if they're not right, they will be very wrong. Hopefully that doesn't come off too 101, but it is specific to this formation because again, you don't have the same layers. We don't have a bunch of triangles that are being built. So you always are at the risk of potentially being too flat. And if you're flat, one pass, one dribble, one skill, one mistake, and you're beat. You're out of position, you don't get the chase back. You've heard my takes, the pros, the cons, even a little bit around the team breakdown and what you need to look for in the 4-4-2. If you have questions, if you want to see those tactics, please go over to Obi's video. I know that he's been putting in the work. He's been grinding just as much as yours truly. And if you're new here, subscribe. There should be a couple videos on screen that you can click on. All sorts of tips and tutorials. We are running it up in a major way. I appreciate you and I have a lot more content coming out ASAP.